Hey everybody, happy April. We are out here in the garden. It is a beautiful, beautiful spring day. And I'm gonna take you for a quick tour of what is happening in the garden. This will be a weekly video for you so you can see the progress of things that happen in the garden and check in as often as possible. All right, so here we are at the fence right next to the gate. This is a bed that is full of fava beans. Unfortunately, the fava beans never materialized from the flowers. You can see the beautiful flowers there. So what we have now are these beautiful fava leaves. And at the end of the month, I will be showing you how to make fava leaf pesto. It's delicious and is used for everything you would think pesto would be used for. I also want to show you really quickly, these are sunflowers that just popped up very randomly. They just volunteered themselves, that's what we call it. They volunteered themselves from last year's sunflowers, and now we have some sunflowers in this bed. Okay, here's our next bed. You can see in the background there, we have the beets that were in your salad this last week. And then in front of the beets, I've planted some more carrots, and they are slowly coming up. You can see them here. Lots of carrots. Orange carrots, purple carrots, all kinds of delicious carrots. So when these are ready to be harvested, those will go into your lunch as well. And then we'll move on to this bed here. We have garlic growing, just growing really nicely. And that is getting pulled out today. That is a big Brussels sprout plant that unfortunately never produced Brussels sprouts. We can eat the leaves, but at this point, the plant is starting to flower, or as we like to call it, bolting, because it's getting warm outside. So the leaves will start to get bitter. So we're not actually going to use the leaves of this plant. Not to mention they're kind of covered in aphids. So to clean them off would be kind of a hassle. We have this beautiful little daisy popping up here. And then once the Brussels sprout plant is removed, I'll be planting some onions in this bed as well. All right, moving on to our next bed. A lot of new things going on in this bed here. We've got some calendula. The flowers of the calendula are orange and they are edible. These little plants here are all sunflowers. These are going to be beautiful. These sunflowers are red, and these sunflowers are called Arikara sunflowers, and they will be 10 feet tall. This is arugula, which is almost ready to harvest. And then in front of that, again, we have lots of new carrots starting to sprout. You can see them here all along. Okay, this bed is getting prepped and ready to go. This bed is going to be all herbs. So in the back there we have dill, and then next to that is going to be basil. In front of that will be parsley, and then next to the parsley will be cilantro. Okay, this is one of my favorite beds. So beautiful. So these plants are purple cabbage, and they are massive. So when the purple cabbage is ready, that will go into your lunches as well. And then behind the purple cabbage, we have snow peas, which are delicious and really starting to form. There's lots of flowers, lots of peas. So you'll see those in your lunches as well. Okay, these three beds are along the fence line here, these three long beds. And usually in the fall, these beds have tomatoes or corn or squash, sometimes beans, things like that in them. Right now, these beds do not get any sunlight, except for maybe this filtered sunlight of the sun coming through the fence. But as you know, we need sunlight in order for plants to grow. So I have to wait a little while to plant these beds. They're going to have flowers in them for springtime, and then as we get closer to summer, we'll plant some corn, some beans, and some squash, or as we like to call it, the Three Sisters. Okay, let's go to the back of the garden, or the middle of the garden, I should say. All right, here's the middle of the garden, our first bed. Up front here, we have lettuce. Let's see, you can see the lettuce starting to come up. And then behind that are beautiful wildflowers. So the lettuce will be a lot shorter than the wildflowers. Wildflowers will tower over the lettuce, which will be really pretty. Okay. And we have a soil thermometer here so that I can test the temperature of the soil before I plant the plants into the soil. So right now the soil is at about 55 degrees. And so you can see there's a gauge here. It says we can plant broccoli. We're almost ready to plant tomatoes maybe into there. I still think it's a little cold for everything else. So we're going to start all the rest of that into the greenhouse. All right, we have more fava. And fava is a cover crop, if you remember. So soon in April, we are going to be looking at the roots of the fava leaves. We'll talk about that. We have kale, which has been in your lunches. And then we're going to be planting some more kale in this bed probably Monday. We have more fava. It's very tall. And then this is really special, you guys. Look, strawberries. Yay. I'm going to be planting some more strawberries too. And then behind the strawberries, we have lots and lots of lettuce sprouting again. Lots of lettuce. Miss Kayla and I worked together very hard and decided that we wanted to make sure that you guys got lots of lettuce in your lunches. All right. So now here we are at the peas. So these are snap peas or sugar snap peas. These are a little bit different than the snow peas I showed you just a couple of minutes ago. But again, there are lots of peas and lots of flowers on these. Here is the current lettuce bed. All that beautiful lettuce that's in your salads right now, and more peas. All right, the last 3 beds of the garden. So I wanted to make sure that you guys got lots of edible flowers in your salads. I think that adding color to our salads makes them so much more appealing and makes them so much more easy to be eaten. So this bed is lots of wildflower seeds up front here. They're not quite sprouting because I just seeded them yesterday, but behind that, again, we have sunflowers. These are gonna get big. Lots of beautiful flowers coming up. All right, this bed here, in the back row right there, we have sweet peas that are coming up. And I'm not quite sure why the sweet peas only sprouted to a certain point in the garden, but I'm gonna go ahead and re-sow those seeds so that we have them all along the back of the garden bed there. And I'm gonna train them so that they climb up the fence. And then more calendula. The calendula flowers are edible. And then some more lettuce for your lunches. This lettuce is growing fast. because it's so warm. And then we have violets. And the violets are edible also, the violet flowers. And they are so beautiful, aren't they? Okay. All right, last bed. We've got fennel growing. This fennel is ready to be harvested. I think I'll do that today. And more calendula. More beautiful multicolored lettuce. And more violets. So beautiful. Okay, everybody, here's your activity for the week. Spring is here. It's here in the garden. It's outside. The beautiful warm weather reminds us that summer is just around the corner. And even though we might get some rain next week, hopefully that rain will be mixed with sunshine. And we know what happens when rain mixes with sunshine. Your activity for this week is to think about what spring means to you. During the springtime, we usually see a lot of butterflies and bees, and the birds start chirping earlier in the morning and later into the evening. The weather is warm and there's beautiful flowers everywhere. What does spring mean to you? How do you know that it's spring? When you're driving around Sonoma County, maybe you notice that there's mustard everywhere. Maybe you notice that the grapevines are starting to bud. These are all signs of spring. Spring is here. What does spring mean to you? Please draw a picture using a blank piece of white paper and crayons or colored pencils or pens, whatever medium you'd like to use, and draw a picture of what spring means to you without using words. So I should be able to guess from your picture what spring means to you by looking at your picture without words. When you're done with your picture, please return your picture to your teacher, either during your time in the classroom, or if you are a distance learning student, please return your picture on Friday. These pictures will be displayed in the garden sometime around Earth Day, and at that point, you'll be able to see all of your beautiful artwork here in the garden. Have a really great week, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.